The silver fork trembled in my hand before I even realized I was gripping it that hard. My dad's laughter cut through the air like a blade wrapped in velvet, smooth, charming, and cruel all at once. "Your sister earned everything on her own," he said, lifting his glass like a man making a toast. "Unlike you." The table went quiet. Even the hum of the fridge seemed to pause. My mom's hand froze over the serving spoon. I leaned back, heartbeat slow but heavy, and said quietly, "Then I'll stop sending you money." His grin faltered. "What money?" That was the night everything cracked open. The night our perfect American family stopped pretending. /////. From the outside, we looked picture perfect. Sunday dinners in our Chicago home, matching sweaters and Christmas cards, framed smiles on every mantelpiece. But perfection photographs better than it breathes. My name's Amelia Grant, I'm 32, and for most of my life, I was the quiet one. The peacemaker. The one who knew that silence often costs less than truth. My sister Lila, 2 years older, was the golden child, charismatic, brilliant, always a favorite. Teachers adored her. Neighbors bragged about her. My parents treated her achievements like a family franchise. My dad, Noah Grant, ran our house like he once ran his restaurant. Every opinion had to pass through him. My mom, Margaret, soft-spoken and tired, spent years translating his pride into apologies no one ever asked for. ///. When the recession hit, Dad's business started sinking. Mortgage payments fell behind. I just landed a job at an architecture firm, not glamorous, but steady. "I'll help until you're caught up," I told Mom. She looked relieved. Dad said nothing. From that month forward, I sent $5,000 every single month. Quietly. Reliably. Dad refused online banking. He didn't trust machines with his money. So I sent it through Lila's account instead. "I'll hand it to them in cash," she said, flashing her perfect smile. "It's just easier." And because trusting her had always been the family rule, I believed her. Month after month, $5,000 disappeared into her account. "Handled," she'd text. And I'd breathe a little easier. But things didn't add up. On my last visit, the house looked tired, paint peeling, fridge humming, unpaid bills stacked in a drawer. "Lila's helping us manage things," Mom said with that fragile smile. I nodded. But something deep down twisted. I wanted to believe her. I did. That night, as Dad turned up the news and Lila scrolled through her phone, I looked at the framed photo above the fireplace, for smiling faces, one missing truth. And I wondered how long lies could keep the walls standing. ///. Dinner that night felt staged. Mom had made her rosemary chicken, the one scent that used to mean home. The good plates came out, the silverware polished. Dad filled his glass, looked at Lila, and said proudly, "Your sister's got ambition, instinct. She figured it out all on her own." He looked at me when he said it, but the smile wasn't for me. "I'm happy for her," I replied. Same line I'd rehearsed since childhood. Mom nodded absently. Then Dad chuckled again. "All on her own too. No handouts." The words hit like a cold slap. I could have smiled, let it pass. But something in me refused to bend this time. I leaned back and said quietly, "Then I'll stop sending you money." The fork slipped from Lila's hand. Mom's eyes went wide. Dad blinked, confused. What money? He asked. I met his stare. The $60,000 I've wired to Lila for you and Mom since last spring. His glass hit the table. You've been what? Mom turned to Lila, pale. Lila. My sister straightened, voice brittle. She's exaggerating. There were delays. Some months she sent it late. Every month, I cut in. On the first. I have the confirmations. The silence that followed didn't just hang, it cut. Dad's face drained. We never saw a cent. Lila's jaw locked. You don't understand. There were investments. What kind of investment eats 60 grand and leaves nothing? I asked. You wouldn't get it, Amelia, she hissed. You never believe in anything unless it's safe. Believing in family shouldn't be unsafe, I said. And that was it. The mask fell. The room turned to ice. .. That night, the house didn't sleep. I lay in my old room under the faint glow of the plastic stars I'd stuck to the ceiling when I was 16. Down the hall, I could hear my parents whisper fighting, Mom crying softly. Lila's door stayed closed. I turned on my lamp, opened my laptop, and stared at the payment history. $5,000. Every single month. My name on every transfer. My guilt written in numbers. I hadn't just been lied to. I'd been financing the lie. By morning, the kitchen smelled like stale coffee and heartbreak. Dad sat at the table, elbows on his knees. Mom stood by the window, robe still on. She says it's tied up in something, Mom whispered. A company. I shook my head. A company doesn't eat mortgage payments. It eats trust. Lila's car was gone. Her room empty. On her dresser, a single sticky note, don't overreact. I'll fix it. She's not fixing anything, I said. She's running. .. I opened every document, every bank statement, every message. There it was, the trail. Every deposit rerouted to Lila's account. Every cent forwarded to a man named Mason Vale. The bank manager said the name like it had a shadow. He's the intermediary, she said. Funds went through his personal account. I felt my stomach twist. That name, Mason, was suddenly everywhere. I left the bank with shaking hands and a vow in my throat. You wanted to play with trust, Lila? Fine. Let's see how much truth costs. 3 days later, the doorbell rang at dawn. Mom and I were in the kitchen. Dad was upstairs. When I opened the door, there he was, Mason Vale, in jeans and a too casual hoodie, smiling like someone rehearsing charm. Morning, he said. You must be Amelia. The sound of my dad's footsteps came down the stairs behind me. What are you doing here? He asked, voice steady but low. Mason lifted a folder. Just clearing up a misunderstanding. Lila asked me to bring proof of our investment. Mom appeared, pale and trembling. Investment? Mason smiled, all teeth. Startup stuff. We're building an app. Connects local artisans with clients. Scalable. Innovative. He laid out glossy printouts, fake charts, buzzwords, fabricated projections. My dad flipped through the pages, his face tightening with every turn. This is nonsense, he said flatly. Mason's grin wavered. Every big thing starts small. $60,000 small? I shot back. He smirked. You've been talking to Lila. No, I said. I've been talking to the bank. / / Tires crunched outside. Through the window, I saw Lila's white sedan pull up. She stepped out, coat too expensive, hair perfect, like she dressed for denial. When she walked in and saw Mason, her face cracked. What are you doing here? She whispered. Babe, Mason said softly, I told you I'd fix it. Her voice trembled. You weren't supposed to come here. Dad's tone was lethal calm. You took your sister's money. You lied to us. Lila's eyes darted. It's not what you think. Then explain, I said. Because 60 grand vanished, the mortgage fell behind, and he's got a new car. She turned to Mason. You said we'd double it in a year. Mason's shrug was careless. Plans change. Dad slammed his fist on the table. You stole from your family. It's not stealing if it's an investment. Lila cried. Mom's voice broke. We skipped payments because we trusted you. The silence that followed was suffocating. I stepped forward, voice steady. So what's your real job, Mason? His smirk returned. Entrepreneur. Funny, I said. Your last company owes back child support. His face twitched. What are you talking about? Lila gasped. That woman who came to the house yesterday, I said. She has your kid, Mason. She's been looking for you. Lila turned pale. You lied to me. Mason sighed. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything. That's the same thing I said, I whispered. Dad moved between us, eyes burning. You're leaving this house now. Mason's grin vanished. You can't stop her from seeing me. I'm not going anywhere with you, Lila said, voice cracking. When he reached for her arm, I stepped between them. Don't touch her. Then, sirens. Red and blue lights spilled through the windows. Mason froze. What did you do? He hissed. Just returning the favor, I said. I called the police an hour ago. He backed up as officers entered. Mason Vale, one asked. Mason laughed nervously. This is a mistake. But the sound died when they cuffed him. Lila sank into a chair, shaking. Dad leaned against the counter, pale. Mom sobbed quietly. As they led Mason out, he looked at me and whispered, You think you've won? There's always another version of me out there. I met his stare. Then I hope she finds someone like me too. The door shut behind him. And the house exhaled. / 2 weeks later, detectives called. Mason had confessed to multiple scams, 5 women, same scheme, same lies. They needed Lila's testimony. At first, she refused. I can't face him, she said. You already did, I told her. And you survived. In court, she sat beside me, hands trembling but voice clear. She described how Mason convinced her to invest, how he'd used my transfers as seed money. Dad sat in the back, silent. Mom clutched tissues like rosary beads. When Mason tried to glance her way, Lila kept her eyes forward. The verdict came down, 3 years in prison, 18 months without parole. No applause. No victory. Just a quiet kind of peace. Dad reached for my hand under the table. Mom sobbed softly. Lila exhaled, like setting down a weight she'd carried too long. /////. That night, we stood in the backyard. I held a small box of photos, notes, the scraps Mason had left behind. Lila held the lighter. "Are you sure?" I asked. She nodded. "It doesn't mean anything now." The flame caught, curling through paper and memory alike, turning everything he touched into smoke. "He took so much from me," she whispered. "Then don't give him another inch," I said. We watched until the sky was clean. By spring, everything felt lighter. Lila found work as an office assistant downtown, nothing glamorous, but honest. Mom started planting herbs again. Dad fixed the broken railing on the porch. The silence that once hurt now felt gentle. Sometimes, I'd catch Lila and Mom laughing in the garden, hands dirty with rosemary and soil, the same scent that started it all. One evening, Dad sat beside me at the table. "We made her this way," he said quietly. "We kept calling her special until she thought she couldn't fail." I looked at him. "We all played our parts," I said. "But we're fixing it now." He nodded slowly. "I'm proud of you, Amelia." It hit deeper than I expected. Maybe because it was the first time he said it without comparing me to anyone else. Later, Lila came in with 3 mugs of tea. "We'll be okay," she said softly. And for the first time in years, I believed her. The house was quiet again, but this time, the silence didn't hide pain. It held peace. A month later, I packed my bags for Seattle. New job. New start. Morning light poured through the kitchen as Mom folded laundry and Dad read the paper. Lila walked me to the car, sweatshirt sleeves rolled up, smile faint but real. "You're really leaving," she said. "It's time," I answered. She handed me an envelope. Inside, a photo of us as kids, sticky with cotton candy and summer light. On the back, her handwriting, "Sometimes you have to lose everything to see what's worth keeping." As I drove away, I looked once in the rearview mirror. The house looked smaller, but freer. Family doesn't break you unless you let it. And I finally stopped letting it. ////. Thank you for listening to my story. It means the world to share it with you. If it moved you, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps me keep telling stories like this one. Stay strong and I'll see you in the next one.